Hey everybody, I'm Scotty J. Welcome back to Rock Titan. And dude, we've got a great podcast for you today. It's funny because we all know, that things have been crazy over the last couple of years, even though it was only supposed to be a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
But here we are. Here we are in 2022 now. And, one of the things that I love about musicians is that they've really taken this time and, what could have been a very difficult, well, it has been a difficult situation in a lot of circumstances because they haven't been able to get out there and support their music live, to the extent that we'd all been accustomed to. But in that time, a lot of artists have been able to write and do some very creative things. And we have that very scenario right now where a couple of guys got together and formed a band called Tempest, which we're going to get into. But ladies and gentlemen, I mean, it's one of the greatest drummers on the planet Earth, Will Hunt. And we're also joined by the vocalist Ron Poisson, but he has a clothing line or a clothing brand that he owns called Cult of Individuality. Guys, how you doing?
Good.
Excellent.
What's cracking? Checks in the mail for that compliment you just gave me.
Dude, I am dead serious. Well, it's funny because I was telling Ron, I'm like, man, with everything that's going around, Dark New Day, man. Like, when that first album came out, Brother is on my freaking workout playlist. Like I freaking love that lineup you guys had. And I've had Clint on and I've had Corey on. And it's funny because I know that at one point you were lined up to be the drummer of I Empire, and those guys came through Philly and got to hang out with Corey at that point, who was playing bass. Now, of course, he's playing guitar for Seether, and Clint. Everybody knows he's guitarist for Seven Dust. But
you know that Seether has been through every stringed instrument player that was in Dark New Day. It started with Troy on guitar, and then it went to Clint on guitar, and then now Corey's on guitar.
Right.
All three people that played a stringed instrument in Dark New Day, one of them still playing in Seether. It's pretty. I guess Sean liked our band.
Dude, seriously, and it's just so funny because again, I was just talking with Ron. Everything's like so incestuous. Like in the music industry, how everyone seems to know one another, and at some point, they're all going to either tour with one another, maybe play in a one-off project, or maybe something that even goes beyond what the original expectations were. But and here we are with Tempest. So I don't know which one of you guys wants to maybe talk about it, but how did you guys meet, and what made you decide to embark on this musical journey that you're on right now? I guess Ron, why don't you go first?
Well, I mean, Will, I mean, we go back now, what is it, maybe 5 or 6 years when we first started?
Yeah.
5 or 6 years. I think I saw Will had actually, I think, posted something on Instagram that he had bought some Cult jeans. And I reached out to him and I said, hey, man, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of yours. Thank you so much for posting. I'd love to send you some stuff. And then, Will's like, hey, I'm going to be up in New York at some point. Let's connect. And to be honest with you, from there, it was kismet. I mean, we're brother from another mother, honestly.
Totally.
From the first minute that we met and hung out and drank and swapped stories and whatnot, and been bros ever since then. And it's been phenomenal. Honestly, it feels like I've known him my entire life.
That's awesome.
To be honest,
I would agree with that. It was very easy to hang out. Like within the first 10 minutes, it was like all these commonalities started happening, and it really didn't start with music at all so much as I knew, obviously Ron loves music, and I knew that by walking into his studio, but it really started off with the clothing part because, I had bought a pair of his jeans. They make these really badass Japanese selvage denim jeans, and I bought some, and I'm a jeans whore and just wanted to have some jeans, man, and found these jeans and like, fuck, these fit like, this other brand that I really liked a lot, and I bought a shit ton of them. And 2-3 years later, wound up actually meeting him, and so it started really about clothing and design, and then music came later.
Yeah, truth is, I never really never mentioned anybody that could sing. I was in a band. It wasn't for years.
Didn't even know.
Never, because you know what?
Funny.
These guys are coming in and they're musicians. I'm a clothing guy. That's it. I'm in a cover band on Long Island, and that's it. So when these artists would come in, I'll talk and we'll shoot the shit about everything, but I would never mention because I'm like, it's not who I am. I'm like,
never said one word to me about it for the first 2 years I knew him. I saw a post that he made online of him singing. I don't remember which song it was, but he was singing with his cover band. I'm like, dude, I text him like, you never told me that you sang. I was like, you actually sound really good. It's a fucking trip.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, depending on where you guys go with your careers, just remember me, because I never would have thought anything of it, but I had some really carpool karaoke. I had some cool carpool karaoke with Wes Scantlin, and we did some Puddle of Mud action. So for everybody out there wondering if Scotty J's got any vocal chops, indeed. And I was driving. I was distracted at the time, just trying to carry a tune. But that's so cool, man. That is so cool that's how you guys met. But Ron, I got a bone to pick with you about them jeans, man. And everybody, again, Cult of Individuality, that's where it's at. So go check out the website. And there are some very cool clothes. But man, I saw a lot of skinny jeans. And for a guy like me, I'm not wearing any skinny jeans, man.
The crazy thing is, I've had 10 or 12 different fits in the line, but everything's changing, right? The world is changing. And honestly, for the music world, they really, aside from, because Will's he's really a Gina connoisseur. When we sat down to talk, he knew so much about fashion and fabrics and this and that that's why we connected. But the music world is really going stretch and super skinny, and that's, for the longest time, how many musicians, Will, probably how many bands were you in where the dudes, everybody's been wearing women's jeans because they didn't make skinny jeans for men.
That happened a lot.
All
right. Not as much, never now, but that's what you did, man. You went to the women's section to buy your rock and roll pants.
And that's it. So really, I mean, we have two fits, a punk super skinny, which is super skinny, and then a rocker slim, that's pretty much for the masses. I mean, anyone could wear that. It's a little looser fitting, but we kind of went away from doing a lot of the bigger, baggier type things because it wasn't the trend that was happening, both obviously in the music world and just the regular streetwear clothing game. So
hip hop world either.
I am not trendy. I am a big and baggy kind of guy.
We have listen, we have a little something there for everybody, so don't worry about it. We got you covered.
Right on. But now, man, you guys look good. I'll tell you what, forget about diets, everybody. Forget about diets. You just got to immerse yourself in the music world, and then the pounds will immediately start to fall off so that you can fit into these clothes,
Just rage. I told my guitar player or bass player in Evanescence, he was saying that he got, what's that? The video things that you wear, like video game things.
The VR goggles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's called
Oculus.
Oculus. Yeah.
Oculus.
He was saying that he got one of those for Christmas, and that he's been doing some of the workout exercise things that they have for. He said, "Man, it's crazy, man." And he's not like a super athletic dude, but he's trying to keep himself in shape. He's like, "Man, it's just kicking my ass. Like you're ducking and slinging and stuff like that." And immediately I'm like, ding, ding, ding. It's like, I got it. I know it needs to be developed. And if anybody steals this from me, I'm suing you.
That's funny. Well, my son, I got him an Oculus a couple Christmases ago, and he comes into my bedroom, playing some game. I couldn't tell if he was having a seizure or what was going on, man. And it's the lightsaber and all that stuff, because then he could broadcast it to the TV.
Here's my idea. Here's my game idea. You ready? They need to make a game for that thing, and they can call it an exercise game, but it's a game, and they need to call it Mosh Pit. And it's basically you go to different festivals and concerts, and you're in the middle of a mosh pit, just slinging around, beating the shit out of people, and you're seeing this as you're slinging, and you're not getting your ass kicked.
Dude, you're getting I already hear my son in the basement, right? And he's playing this shit. Well, somebody here, boom, and we have, in the basement, the support poles that are wrapped with rope. I'm like, he just fucking crashed into that thing.
Exactly.
Course, so imagine what you're talking about in a space. You got to have a big ass space, otherwise people are going to be crashing into the TV, crashing into the tables, crashing.
It'll go viral. People will be YouTubing themselves doing this shit, and then
so right now, copyright patented by Will Hunt. This is it.
Patented. You can't steal it.
No one can take it now. Will, it's all yours.
No, you can't.
Now, truth be told, I'm having a lot of conversations with a lot of musicians who are really big into the NFTs and the virtual reality, and these guys are building these houses. I was on with Vinny with Naughty by Nature, and he's got a mansion, and you go into a room in the mansion, and if you want to go set up a recording session, you can actually go set up a recording session in virtual world. You want to go hang out with people, say the three of us want to go into the mansion and go hit a floor or sit up by the swimming pool. We actually could go into that, and we'd have our characters in there and be hanging out and having a conversation and socialize. I could turn around and there might be Vinny. I turn around, there's Will, or there you are. It's insane. The technique. It's almost scary, to be honest.
Well, it's
really scary,
right?
It is.
Now,
because what happened to just hanging?
Did you see the movie Ready Player One?
I was just going to say that. But you didn't see that, Will?
No, I didn't see it,
dude. All right, so we're not that far apart in age.
I was too busy making music and hanging out with people in real time.
Yeah, but still, you lived through the pop culture of the 80s. And that's really what Ready Player One, it fully encompasses all of the pop culture of the 80s, man. It's freaking cool. But
I got to see it.
You do have to see it. But there's a common theme, Ron, that I think you're like basically getting to, and one of the I'm paraphrasing here. But they said that, you don't want to get too sucked into the virtual world. You got to live in the real world, because in the real world, that's the only thing that's real.
Yeah.
Right. But that's where it gets fucked up.
Listen, we're not that far off. I mean, I'm watching people go in and they're just spending all this time. Ready Player One is living in an alternate universe, and he's just as a character. But I mean, and we're getting off the topic a little bit, but fucking look at The Matrix.
Yeah. Well, I sometimes wonder if we're not plugged into that. But that being said, so Will, I'm going to hit you up here on this question, because I know you guys really do live for the live scene. I know you guys get your juices flowing, playing on the stage in front of huge crowds. I mean, that's where it's at. That's what you guys live for. With technology going the way it is now, we've already had some holograms out there. The Dio hologram is obviously very famous. I think they actually had the Michael Jackson hologram out there too. Now, if technology fully evolved to the part where you could just basically walk onto a platform, and you've got your drum kit out there and everything, and it's just a hologram, a Will Hunt. And then, somewhere Amy Lee's stepping onto her platform, and she's just singing. Yeah. You guys are all in remote locations. Your holograms are all being projected, and they're all brought together in this virtual reality world. And you guys are still playing, but you're playing completely separated from one another, still playing to an audience, not a live audience, a virtual audience, almost like streaming. If you had your preference to be able to do something like that versus a full-blown live in the flesh experience, what are you going to choose?
Full-blown live in the flesh.
Not even.
You know why? There's a couple of reasons why. The first reason is that there's a pack commonality that happens when you're with your people in your band. Your guys and gals, whatever it is. There's this pack mentality that happens. It's just, it's a very earthy thing. You're not, it's like things are transcending from one another because you're in the same room together. That's one thing. The second thing is that I feed off of an audience's energy. You know what I mean? And when they're giving it back to you, that's the best feeling in the world. And that's what makes the live world so incredible. Both from a fan standpoint and from a being a band in a band standpoint, because there's this trade off of energy from each other that is just incredible, and you can't replicate that. You know what I mean? It's like just like they've done a really good job in emulating drummers. You can program drums and all this stuff, and there are some programs out there that are really, really phenomenal. But at the end of the day, they still haven't gotten it right. You know what I mean? It's just, humanality is humanality.
The biggest crowd you played in front of, that was in Italy, Will? Was that in Italy when you played with
No, the biggest crowd I ever played with in front of was Rock in Rio with Evanescence. It was 175,000 people. In Italy, Vasco was, on the average about 90,000 people a night. But that was just for one dude. For Rock in Rio, that was 12 bands. 14 bands on that stage. In Italy, with that guy, it was just for him. All those people were there for him.
That's freaking awesome. Well,
Which
Tempest.
show did they burn? Which show did they burn down? Started pushing the stage and burned your drums because
That was Mexico.
That was Mexico, yeah.
Yeah, Not Fest Mexico.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Not Fest Mexico. Yeah, I actually just saw a little something about Not Fest. I guess what Ginger, I think, is going out with Not Fest this year, amongst others. But Tempest, man, Tempest. That's what you guys are working on. That's what we're talking about. And so one thing we haven't really touched on, obviously, you two guys are together in this band, but you've also got Doc Coyle from Bad Wolves, as well as some of the other guys from Bad Wolves.
Chris Kane and Kyle Conkiel. Yep, from Bad
Wolves. So how did that come together? Like, what made you go and grab those guys to kind of round out what is Tempest?
Will and I started talking about it, and then we started saying, well, who do we think would want to join this project? And obviously Will knows a slew of musicians. And again, for me, we were talking about everything being incestual. Just the clothing game for me has opened up the doors and relationships for so many artists that have become, again, I'm blessed and fortunate, become friends, really, not just, business acquaintances or whatnot. And I've become quite close to the guys from Bad Wolves. And so we were like, hey, I want me to reach out to these guys and see what's up. And we're like, okay, let's just reach out to them first. If they say yes, then we go. If they say no, then we'll think about somebody else. And again, because with COVID, everybody was shut down. This wouldn't have happened, honestly, without COVID, because Will's too busy, everybody's too busy, they're touring, they're making, this never would have happened. So this happened because there was an opportunity and the timing. And so I reached out to the fellas, and they said, "Yeah, we're in. Whatever you want to do, just let us know."
Yeah.
And then Will and I started just kind of powwowing about what we wanted to do. Will, you kind of take it from here.
Well, we talked about, at that point, obviously, I knew that Ron was, had his cover band, and we started throwing out some ideas. Let's just do a couple covers and just have some fun with it, and kind of settled on Sober, because that's something, and you can tell when you hear it, that he's sang a lot in the past. And then Dead Memories, Ron picked out and really was kind of like, the whole thing with Joey. Actually, when we decided to do that song or talked about it, Joey hadn't passed yet.
Oh, wow.
And then, and that was one of a few songs that we were juggling around talking about. And then I believe it was Chris from Bad Wolves said, oh man, that's my favorite band. And so he chimed in, and then I think very shortly after that, Joey passed, and it was just like, all right, that settles it. We're going to do this. It's going to be in tribute to him. Right on. And it was just one of those things that was sort of how we settled on that song, and wanted to do it justice, and I think that we did. Proud of it. I think it came out great.
Yeah, I've always been a Slipknot fan, and obviously a Sober fan, but. When I looked at both songs, I looked at for the drums. I'm like, fuck, man, Will could kill it.
I put on my best Joey Jordison hat trying to do it.
Yeah.
Well, I think if Joe were still with us, he'd be playing, saying he's trying to put on his best Will Hunt hat, man, because you throw down with the best of them, dude. That is no joke. So now you just touched on a couple of those songs that are out there right now. That's all I've had the opportunity to digest. So what is the future for Tempest right now? I mean, is there any chance that we could be looking at like a Bad Wolves Evanescence tour, just so you guys can get up there, double dip,
That'd be fun, man. They're a little heavier than Evanescence is, but they've got, by the way, they have a new record out that's really, really good, man. If anybody hasn't heard it yet, it's they've got a new singer, and they did a really good job on it. So I'll put that out there too, as well as there's a new Evanescence album out there.
The Bitter Truth.
It's actually, believe it or not, man, it's not that new. It's it came out in mid-March of last year, so it's sort of new.
Yeah, but you guys haven't really had a chance to support it, though. I mean, right?
No, I mean, we did the first tour starting in on November 5th. It was supposed to go until December 19th, and then COVID had other plans. There was a massive COVID outbreak on the tour. We had 14 people quarantined in hotels in three different states. So we had to postpone the last 5 shows. So I literally just got home from the last 5 shows two nights ago. 2 nights ago.
Jeez. Wow.
So we got a run under our belts, but man, let me tell you, man, touring right now is zucked. It's not easy.
It's just challenging, I think, with all the stipulations. You know, I'm here in New York, and I know Will's pissed because they played over in Newark, and I actually had a gig with my band, so I wasn't able to go there. And they had an incredible lineup with Hailstorm. It was Plush opening as well.
Plush wasn't on that one. We had Lil Lazar on.
Oh,
on
another
yeah,
amazing.
Plush,
amazing.
those ladies are up and coming.
Yeah,
they're crushing it, dude.
Had
so
them on, unbelievable. Those voices and that talent, the guitar, the bass, the drummer.
Yeah, they're all talented. She's got that old school 80s. I mean, I was watching her cover So Much Heart and all these 80 hair bands. I'm like, holy shit, the pipes on Instagram during COVID.
Yeah. She's incredible, man. Yeah, it's funny. We actually played together by proxy probably 4 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, because I played on Michael Sweet, the singer from Stripers.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, love Michael. Yeah.
And he's awesome. And he had Mariah sing back. She sang almost like a duet, not just backups, on one of the songs on his album that I played on. And that's how I found out about her back then. I mean, he played it for like, Jesus, who is that? And he told me, he's like, man, I think at the time she was 15, 16 maybe. And I was just like, good Lord, man. And then fast forward, and another really good friend of ours who runs the label that we work with, he signed them. So we, when I knew about that, he asked me about it. I was like, they'd be perfect for this tour. So I got them on the first 2 weeks. Actually, I can't say Amy put them on the first 2 weeks, but I presented it to Amy. I'm like, you got to check these young ladies out, man.
Okay.
They're really, really good. She's like, oh yeah, badass. So took them out. They were great.
They remind me of like a female
night.
Greta Van Fleet.
That's a good, good.
Yeah.
It's kind of the new fresh blood, coming up through the ranks.
I think they might rock a little harder.
Yeah, well, dude, they're incredible and so nice, and it's just amazing to see how mature they are at such a young age. Because I remember, I think I talked to Plush like last year maybe, and it was kind of cool. Like I guess it was their fathers. It was the father, right. and that kind of put them all together. And I'm just like, man, I have a daughter, but I'm just thinking, man, if any one of those girls was my daughter. Whew, I'd have my work cut out for me, man. Like that is not a job I would want,
They're good kids, man. They're good kids. They got their eye on the prize. Let's put it that way. They're aiming high, and they'll get there.
And then they got seasoned veterans like you to keep them in check.
Yeah.
You could. The truth be told, honestly, to go on tour as a female band, to go on tour and have the talent that they have with both Hailstorm and you guys, from the artistry, from the vocals, you can't get much better. They
won a lot of fans on that run. They definitely won everybody over for sure.
Yeah, I love it when Lizzie and Amy work together, man. Those two ladies, they harmonize so well.
Don't they? It sounds good, doesn't it? It's pretty incredible.
They are.
It's pretty incredible.
So, time is going to expire on us here at some point. I could talk to you guys literally all day. But so Tempest, what's the projection? We've only got a couple songs out there that we've digested so far. Have you guys written like a whole album? Are we looking at any originals versus covers? Like, what are we looking at?
Listen, man, we already broke up, and we're working on our reunion album and tour. So it's, we've got a lot of personalities in the room that we got to get straightened out and everybody to work together cohesively. But, we got a therapist, and, therapist is,
he's fucking with you right now. He's
getting everybody to look inward and, really kind of, check themselves. And I think once we do that, we'll get together for that reunion album.
True. I got to be honest, and I probably shouldn't even say this. For me, it was enough of an experience just to be able to do this with Will. A legend. and to be able to have an opportunity to record these songs and do something that actually is played on the radio. Who the fuck? I mean, I was going to Evanescence concerts. I was going, who the fuck am I to be actually even doing stuff with them? So that experience in and of itself is enough. Now it's starting to take some legs where, I'm getting texts. Hey man, what's up? Sounds great. You want to do something? Chris Kane, one of the guitarists from Bad Wolves, he's like, hey man, we need to do an original. Who knows? Honestly, who knows what's going to happen? In a perfect world, I'd love to be able to do something again with all these guys. That would be great. But you know what? The big bad touring world's happening again. Schedules are going to get busy. Who knows what's going to happen?
Sorta.
Sorta. Yeah. I mean, who knows? Because it's a clusterfuck. But you know what? It could be cool. Listen, we're kind of calling it Tempest Project. So I mean, I fucking Will's my brother, so hopefully Will wants to be involved in everything that we do with Tempest. But if the guys from Bad Wolves are busy, they don't have something, and another bass player, another guitarist, maybe Troy from Evanescence wants to come in, or Jen, or somebody else, and we do some other songs. Maybe we throw an original. I mean, nothing's written in stone. I mean, this is picking up probably more traction than I ever thought. I don't, I never thought when Will brought that over to Pavement and Tim and those guys, and they're like, oh shit, it's good. Let's promote this and let's get some money behind it. Let's get it going. I'm like, okay. I was just seeing on the Billboard chart. I was just looking at that. Well, I just sent to you the Billboard chart indicator. We're at what, 40 or 34 or something. I don't, something like that. Yeah. I didn't expect
not bad for something that was just done to, basically collaborate with some friends and pass some time, make some music when we couldn't really make any music. And I think, I told Ron this the other day that I know that Chris had mentioned to him about, hey, let's do an original. And I'm all for it. I'm like, let's do it. I've got we all got ways to record at home, and we'll make it work when it works. And I just, as I've said, and I'll say it again, have Chris start sending riffs and we'll start putting it together. So I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm down too. So I mean, it would be fun. It would be fun to try to put out an original and see what happens. Time permitting, with everybody with their schedules.
Our reunion EP.
Yeah, reunion EP. That's funny. That's funny. Well, the world knows Will Hunt's chops, and Ron, I gotta say, man, like I said, when I first heard the cover is Sober, man, I'm like, oh my God, that's Maynard. Like literally, I mean, you freaking crushed that, man. So
he fucking nails it, doesn't he?
Dude, absolutely.
I'm definitely more comfortable on that song. I wanted to do a Slipknot because I've never actually in my life ever the craziest shit. Like I said, we went into the studio because we all recorded individually. Will recorded in Orlando. All the guys from Bad Wolves recorded out in LA. Will had a guy mix everything together for us, and it was great. But when I went into the studio, we started off with Sober, and I went one take. He's like, all right, let's go back in. I'm like, go back in? I think we're fucking good. Let's go. Next one. He's like, really?
Next song.
Next song. Let's go. Next song. Let's go. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah. Okay. Then we went into Dead Memories, which I've never sang it out loud in my life. I fucking never sang the song. So it was the first time going in there. It took a little longer.
You had to go back.
Yeah, I had to go back. I had to go back a few times for it, but it was fun. It was an experience, man.
Corey's chops and Maynard's chops are a little different, but I do love Corey Taylor too, man. He's amazing. I love how diverse he is between Stone Sour and Slipknot. I mean, that's
I was trying to think the other day. There's been so many vocalists out there. Who would you say? I mean, right, with Chris Cornell. And so many amazing artists that have passed and left us. Who would you guys say holds the torch in the rock world?
That's currently living?
Currently living, yes. Currently living, right? Because we've had so many in the last 5 years who have left. And I'm trying to think who's that guy? Is it David from Disturbed? I'm trying to think about who's that guy, or who's we think that guy that's coming up. There's so many amazing vocalists, but
I got one. I got
Chester
one.
and
You guys might be familiar with him, maybe not, but I think this dude has got a long future ahead of him. Dino Jalusic.
So funny story.
That's some funny
He's
shit.
freaking sick,
Funny
dude.
story.
Yeah.
Wait,
Hold on a
funny
second.
story. Wow.
I was gonna say that too. Actually, I do a band with him.
Okay.
So
I did Dirty Shirley with him and George Lynch.
Oh my God! How did I miss out on that? Because I had
Yeah.
George and Dino on the show talking about Dirty Shirley. I featured Dirty Shirley,
Yeah.
so
that's me on there.
oh God, damn, that is awesome. That's an awesome band, dude. You guys gotta keep going.
Wait, look me in the fucking eye right now and say you didn't do your homework and threw that fucking name out there.
I blanked, man. I blanked. But no, Dirty Shirley, totally. I did. I whiffed. But no, it's so funny because I had them both on talking about Dirty Shirley, and so obviously, you know,
fucking record, isn't it?
Absolutely.
That guy, Dino, you're right, man. He can sing anything and sing it really fucking well, man.
He's the guy. He's the guy. Well, what the hell?
Incredible.
Coverdale tapped him with Whitesnake. You know, he was doing something there. You know, so I mean, you talk about kind of handing over the torch because Coverdale, in my opinion, still sounds amazing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, he's you know, I don't know. That's a tough question to answer though, because you know, in what level, as a front man, as a singer and a front man, as you know, I don't know. It's a really hard question to answer. I mean, in my mind, if they're able to still do it, because I've heard him sing recently, I think it's still Steven Tyler. I think that nobody.
Jesus. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That guy's still,
you
know, still doing what he does, and it's fucking incredible, man.
All right, so Steven Tyler, Aerosmith is one of my all-time favorites, but if you're gonna go there, man, Mick Jagger.
Well, there you go. So there you go. Still doing what he does. At how old?
All right. Let's back this fucking truck up, because you guys went into the 70s with this shit. I'm talking about the rock is changing, right? It's changing. Yeah. So let's stay in the decade of at least the 2000s in that range.
So with those guys, I think Dino is one of those dudes. The vehicle for him hasn't really come through yet. It will. But yeah, I don't know. That's
Josh
a really
Kiska.
good question, man.
Josh Kiska from Greta Van Fleet.
Yep.
Yeah, incredible.
He's incredible. I think he's still finding himself, right? Because I was, there was so much on that first record, so much. Oh yeah, I mean, they're trying to do the Zeppelin thing. And to be honest with you, me personally, I like that they had that sound, because most of the generation that's coming out right now is definitely not in that vein or have an appreciation for the history of rock and that sound for one of the greatest fucking bands. So I didn't have any problem with it. I feel like they've altered their sound, and he's altered his voice a little to kind of deviate from that.
Right.
I personally am not sure that they're trying. I have taken a step back and trying to wait to see on the scope of work where they really go as they're trying to find themselves. Because I think he's super talented, but I think he got spooked by too many people saying, "Come on, stop."
I agree.
That's my personal.
I agree.
That's a tough one. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's gonna be fun.
Age young. Super young and impressionable.
They are very young. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see how this whole thing's, how this all evolves. But Will, Ron, guys, thank you so much for joining me on Rock Titan. It's been awesome. And everybody, again, I'm going to be sharing the links to the videos that Tempest has put out there so far. Again, the cover for Sober from Tool is absolutely incredible. I challenge you to be hard pressed to even know the difference between Maynard or Ron. Just close your eyes, all right? Forget about what you know and just listen and be like, oh my God, it's really, really good. But, and again, and Evanescence, they had their last album come out, last March, although it doesn't feel like almost a whole year. But The Bitter Truth, awesome album. One of the best that they've ever put out. Definitely. One of the best they put out. They all sound freaking phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
I'm playing air drums. Because I can't play anything.
That's the biggest compliment a drummer can give. And people talk about playing air drums and that shit. That was one of the things about Brother from Dark New Day. Is like people like, it's an air drumming song. I'm like, awesome.
Totally is
success.
Yeah.
You know,
totally is. But and then Cult of Individuality. You know, for all you guys out there that have the balls to slip into some skinny jeans. You know, but again, the style is out there for everybody. Like Ron said, you know, there's something for everyone, and he outfits the biggest rock stars on the planet Earth. So make sure you go check that out, and we'll have some links in there. But
thank you.
Yeah.
I want to shout out too. Bad Wolves are heading out on tour,
right on,
to promote their new album with their new singer. The album's Dear Monsters, and they're out there now with Jacoby and the boys from Papa Roach and Hollywood Undead. So definitely everybody should check them out.
That's a good bill. That would be a fun night for sure.
Right on.
As long as you don't catch COVID, it's a fun night. But even if you catch COVID, fuck it. Rock and roll.
Yeah, everyone continue to be safe and healthy out there. But again, Ron, Will, it's been a blast, and I can't wait to have you guys on again for the reunion. You know, for the reunion.
That's
tour,
right. For the reunion EP and tour.
There you go. There you go. Everybody, I'm Scotty J. You're watching Rock Titan. We're out.